Salute, salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Ready to talk about the NBA draft and the New York Knicks tonight. Episode 2 of my How They Help series, Risk and Reward, fam. Let's talk about it tonight. We've got 8 new prospects to chop up with the best chat in the biz and replay squad. Salute. Give us a smash of that like button because the Knicks streets are buzzing. And I welcome in. Glad you could join us in another show. Look forward to talking about 8 guys that I think, have a lot of upside, and we'll talk about it. Different ages, different games, different fits on this squad that I classify as a bit more of a risk for the Knicks to use a draft pick on. But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't come in and have a successful career and help, right? A lot of these guys that I'll talk about tonight are a little less safer than the 8 guys that I feel like the first episode we chopped up. And in terms of the fit, we'll go through it. But, man, there's some very intriguing talent these guys will talk about tonight. But first and foremost, welcome into the chat. What's up, Buzzer Beater, Darren? And salute to Knicks Nation out here. It's Tuesday night. I'm with you rocking out, fam. No Diddy. And I look forward to talking about, some guys that, a lot of you want to chop up. And, a lot of people have been hitting me up saying, what about this guy? And I appreciate you for mentioning that as well. Love the interaction in the comment section as well, right? It keeps the show going, right? You guys are it, man. You guys are him, her. And I love the different perspectives you get with the NBA draft, First and foremost, the NBA draft, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Even close friends and people we're going to shout out tonight, we have different opinions, but I love everyone regardless because, you learn, you want to hear different people's perspective on these guys. And when it comes to mock drafts, there's a million out there. There's a million draft experts as well. And there are scouts that really earn their money. They travel the globe to watch these prospects as well, and they see different things as well, but that's how it goes, fam. But right before we get into it, I also just want to clarify, as a Knicks podcast, a diehard Knicks fan as well, everything that I talk about tonight will be in relation from a Knicks perspective as well. This isn't a generic draft show. This is Knicks perspective only, right? So if you are rocking out with us, you're part of Hornets Nation, or you are, with Raptors Nation as well. Appreciate you for joining us as well. Make sure you smash that like button. But also, the players that we talk about, and especially tonight, might fit better with your club. They might not be so much of a risk. For example, one guy we will talk about is a Tyler Kolek as well. Has a very ready-made game, but with his size, limited size, and we talk about as well, and his age with a lower, ceiling, right, and a lower upside, right? Is it a risk for the Knicks to use a draft pick on him, knowing that their roster spots are scarce and we need size first? So that's where I'm coming from. But in terms of Tyler Kolek's game, it is more NBA ready. But I feel like it would be a risk for the Knicks to still use a draft pick on him for different reasons that we'll talk about later. So, yeah, that's what I mean. It's all about Knicks-centric. For the Phoenix Suns, he would be a perfect fit, Washington, etc. as well. But yeah, it's all about the New York Knicks, fam. And do the Knicks have a type when we're choosing in the draft? Absolutely. Tibbs, over the previous years, has preferred guys that are more ready-made. Obviously, even more so now, fam. The Knicks are competing for the Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals next season, right? The bar is set higher coming into next season as well. And we do have some needs to address, right? So in relation to some of these guys tonight that are a little bit more of a risk, 4 out of the 8 are 19 years of age or younger. So that is, less of a fit in terms of ready-made game, but high ceiling, man. You risk, you get the reward with some of these guys as well. I'm excited to dive in and talk about it. And like I said, welcome in if you're new. Appreciate you for joining us on the streets of buzzing. Smash that like button. And let's get into it with the first prospect we will talk about tonight, AJ Johnson. We'll talk about also Johnny Furphy, Trenton Flowers, Ulrich Chomche, Isaiah Crawford, Tyler Kolek, Justin Edwards, and Kyshawn George, right? So these are just some guys that I feel like are within our range. Firstly, why am I addressing these 8 guys specifically? I think they're right there for the Knicks to take late first round, early second round. Some of them may even slip later, fam, if the Knicks want to get another second round pick as well. We heard another report today out of Jake Fisher as well, Yahoo Sports, reporting that he's hearing around league circles that the Knicks are looking to trade all their first round picks as well to bring in obviously an upgrade, a veteran. But that is nothing new. We'll wait to see what happens with that. But it's important to still focus on the Knicks have 2 firsts until they do something with them. Then we don't know. But what the Knicks love to do is obviously meet with prospects still, work them out, because the draft is their pathway into the NBA, right? Once they're drafted into the NBA, they're in the system, man, and they might become a New York Knick at some point in the future as well. So as every organization, every great functioning organization, you want to get to know these guys, fam, their agents, relations, all of those things that the Knicks are building up as well with their circle around the league too. So we don't turn a blind eye to any prospect, man, because one day they might be a New York Knick, right? And a lot of these guys come in and are quite young too. So let's get into it. What's up, Rasta? Appreciate you for rocking out with us. Big up, big up. And yeah, the first prospect, as I pull up the highlights in the bigger picture, fam, is AJ Johnson, right? He is a 6'5" combo guard, right? Coming out of international, played in the Cairns Taipans team in the NBL of Australia as well. 19 years of age, right? Young. His range right now is within 25 to 40. We'll talk about comps and all that in a second. But I've had close exposure to AJ Johnson. I've seen him live in person, scouting some NBL games as well. I attended the preseason as well. AJ Johnson has had a very up and down season, but because he's very young. So the first thing is he's had pro experience. You know, he played in a grown man's league, right? Went through his lumps with this. But what AJ Johnson is, man, he's a Kevin Porter Jr. type, Justin Holiday light, where he's thin. He's very rail thin right now, but in terms of his handle, it's elite already. His shot creation ability to get separation is quite strong, very strong. His ability to hit shots, as you see there, he's got a range as well. But his feel for the game is very advanced for his age, right? His passing, his reads, he sees the cutters as well. He's not a tunnel vision kind of scoring guard, as you see, great dime there on the break. Right? AJ Johnson's weaknesses, man, he is thin. He needs to fill out. He needs to get stronger, but he's quite raw. His role in the NBA can be a question. As I said, he's a combo guard, right, with elite playmaking abilities, but he's more of a score-first kind of guard, which is why there's the kind of the Kevin Porter Jr. comparison with that, and that's mine. That's my comparison as well. And it may be a floor of a Justin Holiday. Certainly has a higher ceiling than a Justin Holiday, but he needs time, man. I think for the Knicks to select an AJ Johnson, man, I would be happy because I think he has one of the highest upsides out of any prospect in this draft, right? He's only 19. He's had a year of pro experience as well, fam. Now, he was a part of the University of Texas before he decommitted 1 year ago and went pro last season as well. So, yeah, pro season, up and down. Didn't get many minutes early. Obviously, it was a grown man's league. And AJ Johnson really had to go through his lumps, One game he played maybe 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, that kind of thing for the first half of the NBL season. Then as the second half of the season approached, they fired their coach. The team was struggling in the league. And then Jason Tatum's father took over as head coach, and he did a fantastic job getting the Illawarra Hawks, his team. I said the Cairns Taipans before, but It's the Illawarra Hawks, LaMelo Ball's former team. Yeah, and that team started to really gel, started to string together some wins, and that's where you see AJ Johnson start to get a little bit more trust, and he took his opportunities, I would say, with his limited minutes, fam. But really flashy kind of guard. I'll tell you what, guys, some people put the comp out there, Jamal Crawford, right? There's a reason why I kind of stay clear of that, because as a Knicks fan, my heart, I've got mad love for a Jay crossover and Jamal. Right, I didn't want to go there because Jamal's an NBA legend to me. He's obviously got the killer crossover, and AJ Johnson's got a very nice crossover. But I stopped short of comparing him to an NBA legend, multi-time six-man of the year kind of guy, right? But there are some similarities. I feel like if he could get to the levels of a Kevin Porter Jr., I think he has a higher upside than him, but his playmaking is better too, fam. So elite shot creation, excellent hesitation, drive, and dribble. He works out with Jalen Green. Those guys are boys as well. So he's been around the NBA circles, been playing pro now. Very young, but a high risk, high reward for the New York Knicks, fam. As we salute Wayne in the chat, Oregon Nick, streets are buzzing, Daniel, and AP, and Buzzer Beater, what's up, fam? We wait to see the NBA Finals kick off, man, and it's been 1 week almost already, and can't wait for the NBA season to end, so it's fully on the off season as well, like AP says. And yeah, Jamal Crawford, mad love for him, but yeah, you can see there's similarities, fam. And looks, I ain't the type to get mad at anyone's comparison, because it ain't easy trying to find guys to compare an unknown to, a 19-year-old kid who's basically unknown. That's why I don't want to, compare a legend with a guy who's quite raw right now. But yeah, KPJ, Jay Holler, Justin Holiday was nice for several years in the league, won a championship with Golden State, right? A taller guard, can shoot, can create. But look, yeah, AJ up close, man, his handle is NBA ready. It's elite. His feel for the game is NBA ready. It's more the physical tools that, he's obviously got to put on weight, At the start of preseason, which is basically right before the college season began, he weighed about, 68 kilos, I think. I'm not sure how many pounds that is, 70 kilos kind of thing. So extremely thin. I think this off season he would have been, working on a lot of the muscle and the strength as well. But, with his range, 20 to 25, potentially early second round, I think anyone who takes a swing on AJ Johnson has to feel good about themselves, guys, heading in to this off season, right, in this draft, right? He is a real prospect and a real one to keep in house and develop, right? With that said, if the Knicks took him, I could see it with a second round pick. I don't think the Knicks would take him in the first round, because I think they'll try to find a ready-made guy who can come in. I think AJ Johnson's going to be in the system for a few years with a team, but he could still get you spot minutes early because his game is, he's silky with his skills, his dribble, his step back. He's got some, shot creation abilities already, and a very, very high upside as well. So yeah, I'm a fan of AJ Johnson. He took a path that some prospects don't take. It's a risk. He was young. He went pro. Like I said, he decommitted from Texas, and he went pro, man. And it wasn't the best pro season. It could have gone better. Obviously, the team struggled, but he's still, in amongst the late first round, early second round conversation. AP says, I want someone Tibbs is actually going to use. I hate when our rookies just sit on the bench all year. Absolutely, man. That's why I don't feel like AJ Johnson's one of the more safer picks, and he didn't make the first episode, but he's certainly a risk-reward kind of guy, and a guy worth stashing, in terms of with the G League taking him as well, because he will pop at some point. I think he's going to have a successful career. And when he is ready, people might be looking back and saying, hey, man, why didn't the Knicks look at him closer as well? There's a reason we've got 3 draft picks this year as well. And, if we look at the Jeffries, your Shake Miltons, Diakites, and Jericho Sims, there's already a lot of roster spots being wasted on guys that never get any minutes anyway. So for me, I would love a guy like AJ Johnson, who at least has the upside of being an NBA starter in this league. And that's what I think his ceiling is, right? It's NBA starter, starting point guard or shooting guard as well. And if you can get that late first round, early second round, it's definitely worth a swing on that one. But yeah, you guys are buzzing right now, and let's move along to the next guy, and we'll do a recap afterwards as we get through the prospects too. The next one we'll talk about tonight is Johnny Furphy, the 6'9" small forward freshman out of Kansas, too. Fellow Australian Johnny Furphy is a guy who absolutely exploded on the scene this season prior, right? Unheralded, unrecruited as well, coming out of the NBA Global Academy out of Australia, shot up in height as well, and he took advantage of this season with Kansas, man. Was a late recruit, freshman, just turned 19 as well, similar to AJ Johnson, right? Extremely young with great upside. Now, Johnny's range, I won't be surprised if Furphy goes right after the lottery. I don't think he'll go lottery. I think it'll be a real risk. But, a team maybe picking 18, 20, 22. I think that's round about the earliest we might hear Furphy's name called, fam. But I think he will get taken in the first round. I think 16 to 30. Nothing will surprise me with that one. Now, an NBA comp, spot-up shooting, 3-and-D wing, Cam Johnson, potentially a Denny Advida. I've heard some people compare Johnny to another Aussie, which is Joe Ingles, right? I get the physical similarities as well, but I think their games are quite different, right? I think if you really watch Johnny Furphy a lot, he doesn't have the playmaking and the ball handling skills that a Joe Ingles does, but the shooting is certainly the same as well. Now, Johnny's strength is obviously 6'9" size. He's an athlete, right? He plays above the rim, great in transition, good feel for the game, great cutter off ball, and a good rebounder as well. So that is something that could appeal to the New York Knicks. If I'm looking at the Knicks and Furphy potentially, yes, he is quite raw, and that is where the risk comes in. But as I said, he's an excellent rebounder already. We know Tibbs loves rebounding. And look at 6'9". You see then Johnny Furphy can climb upstairs, man, and slam it down. He's a fast break waiting to happen. His defense, though, is his weakness, I feel. Laterally more so. I think keeping guys in front of him has proven to be a challenge. I think he can improve on that. Obviously, with muscle, size, and physicality, that has to improve, for Johnny Furphy to be a full-time starter in this league. But coming off a team's bench in season 1, I could still see that, man. The reason why this guy has such high upside to me is because with Johnny, any prospect that you see that rises so quickly in such a short period of time and they're under the age of 19, you need to pay attention, because 12 months from now, 24 months from now, the growth is unlimited, I think, for him. Another part of his game, though, isn't as strong, is, creation. We see some moves there. He can attack on the drive, but his handle isn't the strongest as well. So he's not, he's not a shot creator, ball handler of the likes of a dynamite wing with a Paul George, Kevin Durant. He's more of that spot up, shooter right now, which is a Cam Johnson type as well. And the Denny Advida comparison is mine as well, and that is something where there's similarities with limitations as well. But the length, the rebounding, and the physical tools are there for him to be a very solid defender. With that said, he was a freshman. He's kind of taken the scene by storm early. He needs time, man, and I think he's a very worthy first round draft pick for any team. The upside is big, and look, his release, his shot is beautiful. Yeah, if he was to fit on the Knicks as a backup three, excellent floor spacer as well. A higher upside Quentin Grimes, for example, better offense, maybe not as good defense, but better offense. You see the shot is super high, is tough to block on the closeout with a J Furphy, two fam. So, yeah, look at a guy who's ready to space the floor immediately. A very good off-ball cutter and rebounder as well. Physical strength, it does have to improve, and the lateral defense, the lateral quickness. To Salute London, what's up? In a category high risk, high reward, there are projects around 2 to 4 years. Will be great to have one rookie in that category, but I doubt it. Yep, I feel you, man, and that's what I think as well. I think the Knicks could hopefully pick a guy more ready-made, and then hopefully they open their horizon with another pick, either in the second round or so. We talked about Khalil Ware with the big man spot. Bobby Clintman in the first episode is 6'10", needs a little bit more development as well, but his defense is more ready-made. So maybe the Knicks do look at these, prospects, and I hope they do, with a view to maybe bringing them in still, even though they might not be fully ready season one, right? Couple of seasons of development. I mean, let's keep it a buck. Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride, they weren't setting the world on fire in their rookie seasons. Deuce McBride, he literally come full circle with the Knicks. In the rotation, out, G League, spot minutes last season to being a mainstay. So the Knicks have shown that they can develop and they can be a little more patient. Now, Quentin Grimes came into he was a 2-year college guy, 3 years in the league, and in his third year he regressed. So I think that's why the Knicks moved on from Quentin Grimes. But as long as you continually show improvement, I could still see the Knicks taking a swing on someone, but they can't be super raw. I think that'll be less likely. But look, Johnny Furphy has NBA-ready skills in terms of spacing the corner out, and like I said, rebounding, cutting. If he can bulk up this offseason and he can be an okay off-ball defender, I could see Johnny Furphy getting, minutes with a good team. But obviously, if he does get drafted in the first round, be very interested to see which team, goes with the Furphy, with that in mind and how he fits. But look, 6'9", good athlete, and the shooting ability, man, is got to have any team interested, I think. And hopefully the Knicks, at least get him in for a workout. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think he's more of the lesser likely side for now. I think what would fit this team better is a guy who could back up OG Anunoby defensively as well. I think with shot making, right now we still do have Bogdanovic. Deuce McBride's shot making has come along as well. But yeah, it would not surprise me if Furphy's defense does improve, but his creation is a little limited right now. Oregon Nick, what's up? 4 of 8 guys are 19 years of younger and are high rewards. A to the J Johnson, Johnny Furphy, Trenton Flowers. We're going to talk about Isaiah Crawford. Look forward to talking about him as well. Sherwin's in the building. What's up? Also, as I said in the first episode, I'm open to talking about the other prospects that you guys are high on later in this series. Man, this is a draft series, and this is episode 2, part 2, right? We had some people after episode 1 hit us up and say, give us their thoughts and talk about this guy. I feel some of your picks. I don't feel some of them as well. But what some people didn't realize is this is a series, man, as well. I didn't just talk about 8 prospects in episode 1 because they're the only guys that I want the Knicks to look at, man. This is a very wide field right now with a lot of parity in this draft, and the scouts really have an opportunity to make, full advantage of where the Knicks sit, right? Obviously, trading the first round picks, if that happens, I won't be surprised. We'll probably get a ready-made guy who could help as a vet, but hopefully the Knicks at least take a guy or two in the second round, and a lot of these guys are going to be there, right? So the next guy we're going to talk about is Trenton Flowers, fam, as I pull up Trenton's highlights, right? Now, Trenton Flowers did partake in the combine as well. He's a 6'8" small forward wing, another international prospect who played in the NBL in Australia, 19 years of age, so young, with some upside, right? Trenton Flowers, had an up and down pro season as well. He decommitted from Louisville. There was a bit of controversy there. Obviously, it was late in pre-season, and he decided to go pro as well. But I think he learned a lot. I think it was a good experience for Trenton Flowers to go pro, right? Early on, they put the ball in his hands and they, gave him an opportunity to run point, right? He wanted to be a point forward, a playmaker. But in the pro game, he wasn't ready. He wasn't successful. His handle specifically wasn't where it needed to be. But they made an adjustment after preseason. Trenton Flowers moved back to a small forward role, off-ball wing, and that's where he had a lot of success in various games. Excellent guy off ball, can score in bunches, right? Good feel for the game, is a good read in terms of passing, finding guys cutting. Now he can fill it up, right? He's a multi-scoring threat. He can shoot the three, he can drive and finish, and he can slam it down as well. Solid finishing around the rim. He's got good frame. He's physically strong. He's got good size at 6'8", and he's filled out. So, he can help a team off the bench. I feel, obviously his game needs to continue to develop. His handle, I think, is a little bit of a weakness that can be improved on. But his off-ball defense as well, he has a tendency to lose his man a bit early in the pro season. But he did make improvements with his on-ball defense as well, right? So he showed his vertical at the combine. So yeah, he's a really good athlete. Is Trenton Flowers, 6'8", a guy who is worth taking a swing. Best believe that. If it is after pick 30, second round, I think, the Knicks should definitely look heavily at him as well as other teams. Late first round, I think, could be a bit of a stretch at the moment. It just depends on what teams see in workouts, things like that. But he is a little more mature for a 19-year-old. Obviously, with the pro season, it did help. And physically, he's more ready, fam. He can play above the rim. He finishes strong on the break as well. Yeah, and some decent playmaking ability, right, with the handle needing to sharpen up. NBA comparison could be a Kelly Oubre or a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, fam, as well. So size, strength, not the sharpest creator and handle, but yeah, a guy who can definitely, light teams up. He can score in bunches, and he can be very disruptive defensively, right? Getting into passing lanes. I think his on-ball defense has a lot of potential. I think it's not great right now, but yeah, he's very young still, and definitely worth a swing with his size, and I think the Knicks needing that little bit of extra length right there. A pieces, do you think Jake Toppin in the Knicks plans? I think so. I think Jake will stay for his second year. I think he can stay on the two-way deal as well. So I think that's right up the Knicks' alley, fam. He can get reps in the G League, and we'll see. But he is on the more older side for a prospect. Right, that Ryan Dunn we talked about episode 1, with his defense being ready-made for the New York Knicks to come in and make that big impact, fam. where it's at. So yeah, Trenton Flowers, let me know in the comment section, man. We'll chopped it up with some Knicks fans about this guy. And look, I know him closer than some because I've seen him live in person. I've seen, him go through a full pro season and improve as the season went along. So that's all you want to see from a young prospect, right? He's raw still. There's the risk, and that's where the beauty is in the eye of the beholder in terms of seeing what appeals to you as a team, where this guy can fit. Right, but look, the Knicks need size. They need a guy who can come in and handle the rock a little, create, score, and has some defensive potential as well. So for Trenton Flowers, man, if he's there with pick 38, I think he's worth it. He's worth a take with that one. He has a potential to be a steal, right? He's very young. It's important to know, 19 years of age, man. Some of these prospects are 21, 22. And 23, 24 even. And the fact that this guy's played pro for a season and he's still yet to turn 20 as well, and has big hops, dynamic offensively, and pretty strong in terms of frame. So that's where that's at. And let's talk about the next guy in this episode 2, risk reward, fam. This guy epitomizes a risk-reward scenario, fam. And he is coming out of the NBA Academy in Africa, only 18 years of age. Ulrich Chomche, 6'11", power forward center out of the NBA Academy Africa, right? Played in obviously lower competition, is super young, is the youngest prospect in this draft, fam, as well. And it's important for me to say right now that he's still in the draft, but due to being an international prospect, he still has a decision to make. He still can withdraw and follow the college route as well. So he still has that decision to make right now. But his range right now, it could be anywhere from late first round to mid second round. He did play in the Combine as well, and the Hoop Summit as well. Had a solid showing in the Hoop Summit. Really opened some eyes with his passing ability. Now, friend of the show, the Cooler, shout out to him, has given us his NBA comp, and he's really high on this prospect as well. Made me pay attention as well. A baby Giannis, right? A guy with unlimited upside because of his age, right? He could fall, into the league, into a role of a Bobby Portis as well, right? The literal sense of a boom or bust scenario. A guy who Masai Ujiri of the Raptors, think of that mold, is going to take a swing on this kind of guy, man. Extremely athletic and physical tools are through the roof. Fam, he's blocking shots. He's able to pass as well, handle the ball for a big man with a solid shot. Has the ability already to stretch the floor out with a 3-point shot. Obviously not on high volume, but the tools are there, which is great. Weaknesses right now, he's just so raw and in lower competition too. But yeah, he's the youngest prospect in this draft, right? I'll be absolutely shocked if the Knicks were to take a swing on him, but you just never know, right? Obviously late second round, for early second round. I expect him to probably still be on the board. We'll wait and see. But a team like the Raptors, who I think have pick 19, and they do have an early second round pick as well, right, might take the swing on Chomche, right? In terms of like his ability to play make, I think that's really eye-opening, right? Giannis obviously can handle the rock, be a point forward, be all over the court defensively. Bobby Portis also stretches the rock, stretches the floor with the rock in that sense. Now, yeah, Ulrich needs to fill out. He's still very, unfilled out. He's very raw, and he's definitely going to put on more size, more muscle. But his athleticism, his vertical, is exceptional, And he's just the guy who's just going to eat up all the space on the floor, right, with offensive upside, right? The definition of boom or bust. Let me know if you guys know of him. London says Giannis Bobby. That would be a bingo pick. Salute. The world's his oyster, in terms of his potential. I think it would be wise for him to go with a team, or for a team to select him that has a plan, a clear progression plan. And that's exactly what the Raptors do. They did it with Siakam, and you need patience with him, right? You have the Knicks exercise patience with these kind of prospects? No, they have not in the past. Obviously, I think he's a guy who's not even ready-made in season one. Like, the Knicks did take a couple guys in the past that weren't quite as ready, but they at least had a few skill sets that could get them spot minutes early. So we'll see which team, takes that swing with Chomche, right? But they could be the ones laughing in the end. And like I said, the cooler, shout out to him. He's high on Ulrich more than anyone, I feel. But yeah, he's got a huge, group of fans as well. And it's tough to gauge. You really need to scout him in person, right, with lower competition. Obviously the Combine and the Hoop Summit, though, really did get his stock right up there as well. I think he'll stay in the draft. I really do. Knowing that a team that is going to select him is probably going to take that time, to develop him further and see where, his game can get to. J Dub says, I love the kid Mogbo from San Fran as well. He looked good, yeah. He's one of my safest picks, fam, and that we talked about in part one. And I would love the Knicks to take Mogbo for his tools and his size as well, athleticism, point guard skills, right, in a forward, in a big man's body. Yeah, he looked great too. What are your thoughts on the Knicks potentially trading both of their first round picks? I think we still take that with a grain of salt, because we've heard that a lot in the past, and the Knicks still made picks. They just traded back. The Knicks wanted Maxey that year, and then they ended up trading back. They got quickly. There was a year where they wanted, I think it was Jalen Johnson, and then they traded back, fam, and then they end up getting Quentin Grimes as well. So I think they'll monitor the board. They won't make a predetermined decision, fam, as well. Anyone who thinks that it's done in stone, that the Knicks are going to trade their picks, right? It'd be foolish to come up with a decision already. You wait to see how the board plays out, and you wait to see which trades potentially become available. I floated an example in part one where, let's say, the Knicks are about to pick 23, right? 24 we have. And then a team calls us up and says, hey, man, what do you feel about that guy on the board? We really like him. We want to trade up to get him. The Knicks say, yeah, cool, man. We like some guys later down. Let's do a little swap, and, how about giving us a second rounder, and we'll let you move up 3 spots. Yeah, bang, we move back down. We get an extra second round pick. All of that can happen. So it's going to be very fluid on draft night, fam. And I think the Knicks are really primed to take advantage of whatever opportunity is out there for the New York Knicks to get more assets or to get a guy that they really like. But yeah, I'm a fan of this guy the more I see him. Obviously, you love to see these raw prospects develop into something special. I mean, don't forget, Giannis was playing like 3rd division Greek league. Not many people on the planet, were willing to take risks with him. Pascal Siakam as well. Now, one thing I failed to mention about Chomche is he hails from Cameroon as well. So, yeah, shout out to the NBA Academy in Africa. Obviously, I think this is going to be very, very fruitful for the academy for the NBA, right? The pipeline to get amazing talents out of Africa into the league, and I really look forward to seeing what he can do. how he develops, right? But it is boom or bust as well. Elite physical tools. The ability to cover spaces all over the floor, defensively handle the rock and shoot as well. Hopefully he can play in some better competition to help his game develop too, fam. Now we move along to the next guy we talk about tonight, man. Risk and reward. As I explained in the first part of the show, this is Knicks-centric. So I feel like it could be a risk for the Knicks to use a draft pick on a undersized point guard, and I'll explain why. But firstly, if you are watching again from Nuggets Nation, from Raptors Nation, Phoenix, he could be a safer pick for that team, right? His game is more ready-made, I think. So that's not why I think Tyler Kolek could be a risk for the Knicks. I think it's fit, and that's the bigger reason why, right? But he has skills, man. Playmaking ability is his strength. His ability to run the pick and roll and command an offense, right? Playmaking stands out. 23 years old. He's a senior out of Marquette. 6'1" with 6'3" wingspan. So that is the limitations physically with size and his tools. But Deuce McBride, we have a backup point guard that's definitely earned that spot, and we have Jalen Brunson obviously as well. So not many minutes to go around for a potential point guard. Now, are you willing to put Deuce McBride at the 2? And have two undersized, an undersized front backcourt with a Kolek? I think that would be very risky for me. But yeah, his game is more ready-made from the sense of playmaking, reading the game, great motor. His weaknesses is his size, fam, and I guess finishing in traffic from what I've seen as well. I haven't chopped up hours of draft film, so based off what I've seen, I think it'll be a bigger risk. I've seen Kolek mocked to the Knicks quite a bit. Some of those mocks might not be paying as much attention to the Knicks' current situation, and that's why I'm here to say that it's more of a risk. I think if the Knicks were to use a draft pick on him, and I think Kolek will go in the first round, most likely, late 20s, maybe early 30s before the Knicks even pick as well. So I think he could fit Phoenix really well. He could fit, your Washingtons. He could fit Minnesota, who really need a point guard with Mike Conley aging. So again, if you're watching it from that perspective from another team, it might not be as much of a risk or no risk. But for the New York Knicks, I think it is a risk, to use that draft pick on him. Because don't forget, with a first round pick comes guaranteed salary, and the Knicks are trying to, cleverly maneuver the cap to stay below the first apron as well. And I think we'll want our salary as low as possible, right? But look, in terms of a guy coming in, I think he can be a guy who would definitely add some floor general point guard play to the team. He knows how to get a team organized and is great at playmaking, right? He'll find Mitch on the lobs. He'll find, guys cutting as well. He'll swing it out to the shooters, all those things. But with his size and his limited defensive, game, I think that is a risk if the Knicks were to take him, fam. So that is my thoughts on Tyler Kolek. But he is mocked to the Knicks quite a bit. So I feel like people aren't quite sold on Deuce McBride's playmaking ability. But I think our first need is size. Right? We do need to get a wing first and foremost, and the best wing we can get in terms of size and defense. Yeah, J-Dub says the same. Good pick. He's a true point guard. Deuce is really an undersized 2. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Essentially, those two next to each other would be very undersized, and that's a risk from that perspective. Now, the Knicks have, Rokas Jokibitis' rights, right? Would it be better to just, get Rokas into training camp? Rokas is more experienced in the pro game, and it has just as high as a ceiling as a Tyler Kolek as well. So yeah, I would favour passing on Kolek for me. London, what's up? Every year I follow one player all year. This year it was Kolek. I love the guy. Energy. He can go on hot streak, good hands, but he's a decent team defender. Yeah, he's got that competitiveness, which I've seen. He's definitely got, he doesn't back down. It's just purely a size limitation. And I just don't think it's the Knicks' biggest need right now. Would he come in and potentially help the team move along with playmaking and all of that? Yeah, absolutely. I think, Tibbs loves a ready-made guy. I just think from where we're at, with the money invested in Deuce and Brunson, and then maybe DiVincenzo gets more playmaking going on the ball, and then obviously free agency, we never know. Julius is here. There's going to be limited touches, I think, and limited minutes, to take Kolek with a first-round pick. Let's say Kolek's there, 46. Let's say the Knicks get a second round draft pick because we've traded 2 of our firsts and we move back down out of the first round. Yeah, I think pick 46, no problem. Use that. You can fill out some bench depth. But yeah, for a late first, early second, I think I would prefer the Knicks to go for more size with that one. Fam, we've got D. Linder in the building, the Kansas boy. Better tonight so far for the Knicks. Yep, I like your thinking. I love the Kansas boy, Johnny Furphy, as well. Johnny's got the 6'9" size, plays above the rim, defensive potential, and shoots the hell out of the ball as well. And yeah, we'll talk about Bub Carrington as well in a future episode. But J-Dub says, if I have the pick, I get Bub Carrington instead, a bigger guard, more potential, 6'5", and the shooting is deadly. Yeah, I hope it's a home run draft, man. I'm excited. I know it's a weaker class as a whole, but that means that the Knicks can get themselves a lot of different prospects, and in terms of what they feel is good for them, and the beauty being in the eye of the beholder as well. Now the next guy we talk about, moving along to a wing with size, ladies and gentlemen. This is a guy rising up, I'm going to say, and a guy that I just started paying more attention to recently. His name is Isaiah Crawford, fam, out of Louisiana Tech, right? Had a big journey through his college career so far, man, but rising up, had a great season. I think coming out of Louisiana Tech, 22 years old right now, a senior. He's 6'6", right? His range right now, it's quite in flux. It's going to be either very late first round, after the 20 kind of range, if he continues to climb. But I could realistically see him going early second, mid-second as well. He is further down on a lot of people's big board. He's last I checked, he was in the 80s in the NBA big board, right? But his NBA comp, from what I can see, and looking at him closer, fam, right? He could be a DeJounte Murray, baby Kawhi Leonard, right? He's a two-way wing with great spot-up shooting abilities, man. Shot a really good clip on three-pointers, solid scoring, right? Needs to work on his shot creation a bit to continue to get better. But his defense, man, is salivating, man. This guy has huge hands, which is why, some people are looking at him as a potential baby claw, man. And he has a 7'1" wingspan with good wing size at 6'6". His weakness, he's got basic creation at the moment, his age, and he's had an up and down journey, right, through his college career so far. But good season so far, and coming in right now, people are really paying more attention to Isaiah Crawford. As you see, he has the ability to back his man down, finish in traffic. handles the ball at the top, yeah, pulls up, excellent 3-point shooter as well, and 7'1" wingspan. What's there not to love, man? This is a pick that I could see the New York Knicks taking in the second round, and I hope that they take. Man, I would take him in the first round. To be honest with you, 24, 25, I'm sold on this guy. I really am. You know, he offers that scoring burst that we had with an Alec Burks, but with much better defense, right? So if we are going to lose an Alec Burks, right, this guy can plug and play right away, 2 in the 3 spots, right? Smaller than an OG Anunoby, but 7'1" wingspan makes up for that. So I could still see him guarding the likes of, I think he could still guard the likes of a Pascal Siakam. He's pretty strong in terms of frame. You could definitely guard your likes of, your Aaron Neesmiths, Nemhards, TJ McConnells, keeping guys in front of him. Just would be a great two-way wing for the Knicks to add to their squad right now. So that is Isaiah Crawford, fam. He's 22 though, more ready-made. And I think if we're looking at what the Knicks have shown in the past in terms of a type, it's multi-year college dudes, dudes who've been through their lumps and gotten better throughout their college career. Quentin Grimes, man, comes to mind, right? You see, there is this bit of an unfair myth about Tibbs, right? People might say, Tibbs ain't playing rookies, Tibbs ain't going to play anybody, Knicks only want vets, etc. I think the Knicks do want some vets. Obviously, they want to get better, but I think some of that is a bit untrue about Tibbs not playing dudes. I think if you get guys that Tibbs likes, and we've shown with Deuce McBride, who that was a Tibbs guy, and he got early minutes. It was spot minutes, but he still got opportunities, After the combine, Tibbs fell in love with Quentin Grimes, and he was a big part of the Knicks taking Quentin Grimes as well. So, that's another proof that if Tibbs can spot a guy that he feels could be a two-way player with good energy, good intangibles, he'll play you. He'll give you chances as well. So, why Tibbs might not play guys if they're not ready? Tyler Kolek, right, could come in and get some backup minutes for a Tibbs, but he's undersized, right? A guy like a Johnny Furphy might get sporadic minutes, but he's got length, shooting, and he rebounds. So, if he shows well in preseason, he might get some spot minutes as well. It's all up to what the player does, and the player has to show Tibbs that they can get those minutes. And I think a guy like a Crawford, man, I could see this being a quintessential Tibbs guy, really. I mean, we know Tibbs fell in love with Alec Burks. We'll think of a better defensive guy than Alec Burks, and a guy who's got big hands. His NBA comp for me is a DeJounte Murray, baby claw. Obviously the ceiling is lower. He's 22. I think when Kawhi was 22, he was winning a championship with the Spurs over Miami. But I think the fact that he's a college senior and he's come out and had a great season, 16 points per game, 6 rebounds he averaged. He averaged just under 3 assists. And ready-made wing, in my opinion. And I think this guy is going to rise. I think look out for his name to be at the bottom of the first round, right where the Knicks are picking, maybe even higher than that if he kills his workouts. I know he's worked out for Portland, and I think he's also worked out for the Pelicans as well, man. When you think Pelicans, think Dyson Daniels, think Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. Those kinds of dudes as well. So I think Crawford's worked out for the Pelicans and the Blazers with that situation right now. And I'm not going to lie, I'm really starting to feel this prospect more and more too. What's up, Alan? The Knicks should pick a crafty scorer like Baylor, Shearman. I'm looking forward to talking about him at a future ep as well. Appreciate you. J-Dub, Pacome Daddier is raw, but natural gifts, only 18. He's climbing too, and I definitely want to talk about Daddier in the next show as well. J-Dub also says, yeah, Tibbs plays some young guys. They just must be a two-way player that has to be ready to play and contribute. Yep, you said it. And I think, like everyone, man, he wants to be part of the process. You feel more invested in the guy, right? Wouldn't you say? Like, let's say you go into the store and you're picking out, back in the day, if you're picking a movie or you're scouring Netflix, for example, right? If your partner or your family member picks the movie, you're going to be less invested, right? But if you pick the movie, you're going to be down. You're going to be into it, right? So Tibbs had a part in selecting Deuce McBride, and he had a part in selecting Quentin Grimes as well. And those guys got early opportunities. I think that if Tibbs, likes some of these dudes, and now that, he has more cachet, I would say, getting the Knicks closer to the Eastern Conference Finals, probably going to get a big extension soon. I think the front office could definitely use his input on some of these wings as well. But the combine went and gone, and obviously Quentin Grimes did show out in the combine. It'll be interested to see which prospect the Knicks liked, coming out of the combine as well. We've got DD in the building. What's up? How you feeling on Crawford? Crawford is built like OG. Would be fun to have him be mentored. Yep. Do we break the Frenchman curse in New York? The freshman curse or Frenchman curse. I think Crawford's experience key. But yeah, the Johnny Furphys that we talked about, AJ Johnson earlier, I have my doubts that the Knicks would go there as well. But I'd watch their careers in the league closely, and I think the Knicks should hopefully take a pick in the first round. I get the money involved. We're trying to avoid the first apron, and we don't know what's going to happen in free agency. And I don't want to go on a whole big rant, but I know so many people have said this before, and I think it makes so much sense that the draft should come after free agency, man. Can you imagine if all the teams do their free agency and they work out what players they can fit, what players they're able to sign, and then the draft comes so that they can pick and fill the right holes? I think that's what needs to happen, man. I think the draft needs to be after free agency, and that would help a lot too. Look, I've only really started to look closer at Isaiah Crawford in the last week or so, and the real size of 6'6", but with a 7'1" wingspan. It's basically, Alec Burks on steroids, or if you want to look at it like a light DeJounte Murray, baby Kawhi, OG Anunoby type, like our guy Dirty said, just coming off the playoffs. I love to give you guys some comparisons, but obviously, Josh Hart, was stuck guarding Pascal Siakam. Well, imagine having, a 2-inch taller, thicker wing like Isaiah Crawford with a bigger wingspan who can switch onto a Neesmith, Nemhard, hold his own on a Pascal Siakam back down, and then even switch over to Miles Turner and contest the three-point shot from Miles Turner. You're looking at an Isaiah Crawford. He could literally guard 5 positions, potentially. Potentially, 4, if not, as well. So that's where it's at with him. 22, pretty well-rounded season. Like I said, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists. Now his creation, it's basic at the moment, I would say. It's basic to good, but it could definitely get a lot better. I think the big hands will help. Obviously, when you got Kawhi Leonard hands, fam, and I don't know the exact measurements of that, but when you're able to, to hold the rock like it's basically a baseball. You and I holding a baseball is like the same as these dudes palming the basketball, and they're able to do a lot of things. Swipe it. This guy is excellent at steals and blocks. And getting into the passing lane. Dirty says only trade out of the draft if you know exactly how much money you need to do another move. Yep. Hopefully the second round is our oyster, too, fam. I could really see us taking 2 to 3 guys in the second round. One of them be G League, 2 of them fill the end of the bench, and we avoid the first round salaries. I wouldn't be mad at it. It would just depend on who's still on the board and who we pass up, because I will have some PTSD. If there's some guys who are there that I like, for the Knicks to pass on. Now, next we'll talk about Kyshawn George with Miami, right? But what I was going to say is, as well, let's say the Knicks were to trade 2 of their firsts for a future first, and we're able to pick up 2 more second round picks in this draft. So basically having 2 or 3 picks in the second round and getting a future first round pick for another draft. I think that could be something where the Knicks, try to get a little cute with. For an example as well, avoid the salary right now, but make sure that you don't lose both of your firsts. You get one back later, and then you get a couple of more seconds, I think, to take a few swings on some guys as well. But before we continue on, man, we've got a few more to talk about. Kyshawn George, and we'll talk about Justin Edwards as well, and some other guys you want to chop up, freestyle, Q&A. But the streets are buzzing. Smash that like button. If you're enjoying the content, man, there aren't many, Knicks-centric platforms doing a lot of a draft discussion and deep dive as well. If you're a real hoops junkie, you love it, man. And as I said, this draft is the guy's pathway into the league, right? It ain't necessarily the only chance for the Knicks to get one of these guys. Who knows? A few years' time, we could be talking about some of these guys being a Knicks target. Remember, Mikal Bridges was right there for the New York Knicks to take, right? And fast forward to today, man, he's on our most wanted list as well. So we had the opportunity to get that guy. Let's not make the same mistake and regret it. Regret letting one of these, pretty prospects slip from right between our fingertips and miss out on them, fam, as well. But yeah, in terms of Dirty talking about the French prospects, there's so many, man. Pacome Dadier, and the list continues on, man. Reese, Alex Sarr, they're going to be running the league soon as well. Their Olympic team is going to be crazy. Buzzer says that's an excellent idea about the draft coming after free agency. Yeah, I'm glad you agree, fam. Frankie Smokes, Frederick Weiss. Yeah, the Knicks do need to break that curse. Mo Steph. Lucky we didn't take Killian Hayes, though. Fam, and the Killian Hayes pick would have been something to really regret. Not that pick we had that year is still on the squad anyway. Yeah, AP, man. What a point. Great point, man. Brunson was available in 2018, and we passed up on him, too. The list goes on and on. We passed up a lot of guys. Don't forget, Jalen Johnson had a lot of upside, and the Knicks didn't want to take that chance on him. And now he's really starting to come good as well. So I hope the wanting to avoid the guaranteed salary doesn't, come back to bite us too. Couple guys more recently I was high on, your Jeremy Sohans, your Tari Easons of the world. Man, how good would the Knicks look right now if we had a Tari Eason or a Jeremy Sohan right behind OG, playmaking and all of that. That could have been the difference in the playoffs, right? I mean, more so than ever, we've seen one piece can literally make the difference, right? You take OG off our squad, and it's boom or bust, fam. It's I think we're 13 and 17 without OG. If I'm including Game 7 now, and with OG we're 26 and 5 as well. The highest winning percentage in the NBA. In a smaller sample, obviously, but the Knicks 26 and 5 with OG is a better win percentage than Boston had this season. You bring Julius Randle back, you give us some depth at the wing spot, some more scoring. The Knicks could have been the number 1 seed this year. I know, Boston had quite a big lead, but I think we're in a good position, man, and I think this draft we can plug some holes as well. So let's get into it and talk about the next guy, right? Which is Kyshawn George out of Miami. Now, Kyshawn has some holes in his game, but has some real skills and upside and physical tools, right? That'll have teams really, I think, open to taking that swing. He could be anywhere from after 20, 25, even early second round right now. His stock's kind of not quite consensus at the moment. An NBA comp I've seen floated around is Delano Banton, was Jonathan Wasserman of Bleacher Report threw out there Delano Banton. Right, that's quite an unheralded NBA comp. For me, I've seen this floated around. Nicholas Batum, right, a guy who's 6'8", beautiful shot on him. Obviously, the shooting is a skill, a strength, the size as well, and good two-way potential with those tools. Think peak Nicholas Batum, man. He was really disruptive on both ends. Even recently, his game is still, helpful. Able to pop the three, space it out. Now the weakness is, some creation, isn't the best. Finishing at the rim is a clear weakness right now. He's a little raw still on the offensive side. 20 years old, so not young. Wouldn't classify him as super young or super old. I think he's a good age, good age to take that swing with. But yeah, you are getting a guy with a clear wing size, right? A combo forward, shooting guard / small forward, right? A wing, quintessential wing with that. Good comp from Dirty's Kyshawn could be a poor man's Anthony Black. That's a good one, actually. The size, yeah, I forgot about Anthony Black being as tall as he is. Let me know if there's anything else you think. Would you be okay with the Knicks taking him late first round, or do you think he's just a second round for the Knicks specifically? And as I said at the top of the show, this is more Knicks-centric. There'll be other teams that'll be very happy to take a George late first round, maybe even earlier too, because of the two-way potential, right? And that shot is tough to block, right? It's beautiful because of the height, yeah, and the limitless range that he's got. And obviously, strong competition. I think that's something to also account for as well. Here you see him going up against Syracuse. Look, he can get to his spots. He has no problem getting to the rim because of his size. But his finishing ability, can be the swings factor with George, right? But yeah, oozing with potential, two-way guy. I would be happy if the Knicks took a swing with him. However, it is more of a risk still, and I feel like if we take him in the first round, there are some safer bets for me, some safer bets. But you could easily say that this guy has a higher upside than a lot of your other guys as well, who are still a bit of a risk as well. I know Jonathan Mogbo is catching a lot of eyes. Bobby Clintman played pro. Those guys still, need to refine a lot of their games, have some question marks coming in as well, right? Kyshawn George. What do you think about a Kevin Knox comparison with that as well? Knox had some trouble finishing as well, but came in with the jump shot, was a little streaky and inconsistent. But obviously Kevin Knox just wasn't strong enough. He wasn't tough enough to win minutes off Fizdale, especially in the second season. But the Knicks went in a completely different direction. We can't get into that because we did abandon the development of Kevin Knox. I think Kevin Knox is still in the league because he has that skill set that he can shoot. But yeah, the defense has just never come along. Whereas I think Kyshawn George is definitely better, more advanced at that position right now. But yeah, the finishing has to improve with him. AP says Knox wasn't the same after Zion snatched his heart out with Owen, man. That'll live in one of the worst summer league moments, I think, for Knicks Nation. Dirty says Knox wishes he had Keyshawn's feet as well. George isn't fast, but he's very coordinated. Yeah. With Knox, man, I think he shot up so quick as well in height. And he's got quite broad shoulders as well. Yeah, and he was just so lanky that he just couldn't develop that coordination with his feet defensively as well. It just wasn't tough enough to. But the difference I think is that Kevin Knox was really raw, 18, when we took that chance on him as well. So we weren't willing to invest in his development, yet we took that swing when he was 18 as a freshman. So that was a failure on the Knicks as well, right? You could take swings on any guy, but you have to follow through with it. You must follow through with that plan. If the plan is to draft a guy with higher upside who needs time, you need patience. The Raptors, for example, with Chomche, Siakam, those guys have a clear development plan. The Knicks' development plan with Kevin Knox was non-existent. Not only that, we countered it by bringing in Mook Morris, Bobby Portis, and Taj Gibson, just to lump on top of wasting a first-round pick on K. Knox as well. So we'll move along to the next guy and continue chopping it up. Justin Edwards, right? Connections from Kentucky, right? A very up and down season from Edwards, man. But he's another wing, 6'7", right? With offensive game. Very, very streaky season, very inconsistent. Started out, as a top 10 kind of consensus guy. Started to drop, man, really shaky start to the season, but is an athlete, and incredible shot making ability. Can explode, right? And he did explode later in the season, came on the scene, but has some defensive tools as well. I think Edwards is definitely going in the second round at this point. Now, being Kentucky, William Wesley, Kenny Payne, all the connections in the world, I could see the Knicks saving a second round pick and saying Justin Edwards is our swing, is a guy worth, investing in. I can't come up with an NBA comp, man. I've gone NA on this one because I don't want to throw anything out there for the sake of it. Let me know if you have something. I don't want to, be disrespectful to the pro or Justin Edwards, but that kind of paints the picture of how, how in flux things are, man. And look, everything can change in the next 3 weeks. Workouts happen. Again, maybe, some other things were bothering him early in the season, but he's a riddle still that is yet to be solved. But yeah, had some huge scoring performances. This one, he dropped 28 points on a perfect 10 of 10 against Alabama in that performance as well. That was back in late Feb. So, I mean, he's absolutely worth a swing with a second round pick. I don't think he's going to go first round. We'll see. Dirty says Edwards finished so strong. If he had started that way, he would have been top 10. Yeah, that's so true. But also, yeah, it sometimes ain't how you start, it's how you finish too. And guys will be really keen to look at workouts, getting him in versus other guys potentially. You got to think the Knicks Kentucky connections. We know Coach Cal has moved on. But yeah, he was really forecast to be super high as well. So you kind of got to think, yeah, his stock should have fallen. Is it fair that it's fallen that much? We'll see. Obviously intangibles are something that'll win the Knicks over. Most def. Does he have the intangibles as well from a Tibbs perspective? I really believe in his shot too. Definitely he's got the range, has some playmaking as well, solid handle. Just been streaky, inconsistent right now. But look, in terms of all the prospects, the fact that you've still got some years, he's only 20 and he was a freshman also, so that has to be in consideration. Remember Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley's freshman season was very, very underwhelming. And then Emmanuel Quickley just came on the scene and was that big shot maker in his sophomore year. And then the Knicks took Quick, and the rest is history as well. I've seen some people float out, Malik Monk out there is obviously a bigger Malik Monk, better defensive tools with the size. And look, anyone above 6'6", and I'm paying closer attention because I think the Knicks need somebody to eat up those minutes. At the very least, we need somebody to eat up. If Bogey is here or he isn't, he's not an 82 game guy. He's going to get hurt at some point. He's 35. OG Anunoby definitely ain't an 82 game player either. Precious Achua is a restricted free agent as well. Alec Burks, we don't know his future yet either as well. Of course, Josh Hart, I think would be better at the two or the three. Justin Edwards, definitely there's a world where he fits coming into the squad to eat up some minutes as well. And look, the shooting, the floor spacing is definitely transferable with that one. Another comp, Dirty's gone with the Moses Moody comparison. That's pretty solid. You could definitely see those similarities. Moses is 6'8", I think, but yeah, good frame. Not as athletic. And Knicks love their lefty snipers. Yep. In terms of his ability to move at that size and blow by guys, I think, it might have been a bit of a shock early. Certainly a freshman season, there is ups and downs, right? So I think, this guy is going to look to have a very solid pro career, in my opinion. It's just a matter of is he going to slip out of the first round now, right? Look, it's a pretty weak class. I could definitely see him going, 25, 26, that 27, 28 range as well. Obviously, fit with teams will be something. Orlando needs shooting. The Raptors need shooting. Another reason I said before is maybe the Knicks don't take him, but maybe he's on the board when the Knicks select and another team wants him. And then that facilitates the Knicks' ability to move back or recoup a future pick For example, I mentioned Orlando needs shooting. Maybe you're a Utah Jazz that really needs some young talent, and we swap one of our firsts to them, and we get a future first out of them or a couple of future second rounders out of them to add to our war chest so that we can use in a future trade as well. So I think that's the most likely thing. See, the Knicks they want to watch the salary situation closely, but they also don't want to lose a good asset, which is a first round pick. So why not flip one of these first round picks to somebody else, and either get some future assets to kick the can down the line, right? And hopefully welcome in at least a few players though, because I do want us to take someone in the second round, and ideally someone in the first round if they're the right guy, Edwards could be one of them. It could be your Clintmans. It could be your AJ Mitchells that we talked about in show one. AJ Mitchell is really, climbing up. Someone, Isaiah Crawford, who we talked about tonight. Higher ceiling kind of guys, really, that higher floor, high ceiling, that can come in and do a job with us. So yeah, that is Edwards where it's at. And with that said, fam, that is the 4 prospects that we talk about. The 8 prospects that we talked about tonight, as we summarize them, and we preview the shows coming up. Got some scheduling announcements to make. How they help. Series Part 2 tonight. We talked about AJ Johnson, Johnny Furphy, Trenton Flowers, man. 3 19-year-olds that don't necessarily fit the Knicks' history of taking, these swings on these guys, but 3 guys with higher upside than most of these other guys. Johnny Furphy, his ceiling can be, starting wing on a championship contender as well. AJ Johnson, it could be, a starting guard, on a very good team, on a playoff team, right? I stopped short of giving him the Jamal Crawford comparison because, some people see the crossover and they, do the correlation. But to me, Jamal Crawford's, more of an NBA legend. To me, multi-time 6th man of the year. One of the best just natural scorers the game has ever seen. And AJ Johnson's got a long way to go to that as a 19-year-old. I went with the Kevin Porter Jr., right? And a rich man's Justin Holiday for now. But, elite shot creation, elite dribble, elite passing, good feel for the game as a combo guard. But 19 years old, man, he's going to need time. He's going to need a few years to really, develop and get stronger, all of that. But I won't rule out, these guys with pro experience really being a little more advanced in their second year as well, and maybe opening some eyes. LaMelo Ball, remember, played in the NBL one season. He was obviously the number 1 pick, but he was awesome in his rookie campaign as well. He came in and looked ready. Josh Giddey obviously came in playing in the NBL. He was more ready too. Some guys, really take that experience and learn. I kind of liken a year in the NBL and pro as their rookie year. Realistically, it was their rookie year. And I think if Kevin Knox had 1 year in, let's say, the NBL or 1 year after Kentucky, I think he would have looked a lot more ready coming in. So that is really important, that the players get minutes. They need to play, and they need to get, opportunities to develop. You guys can see the Kevin Porter Jr. comparison as well. Obviously, outside of the off-court stuff, his game. Justin Holiday was pretty underrated, I felt, at some point. he was a part of a championship team. Dirty says with Justin Edwards, you think he could be a 10-year pro, could do a hell of a lot worse in the second round, definitely. London says if I were him, I wouldn't answer an invite to the green room. Tough situations to slide, but as I said at the top of the show, beauty is in the eye of the beholder as well, and there's teams that cash in on other people's mistakes in hindsight. You guys are the best. You said tonight, good examples, Jalen Brunson, right? How many people overlook Jalen Brunson as somebody who was undersized, let alone, this is a dude who dominated college, right? He won everything there was to win in college, but it still wasn't enough to get the respect of a first-round draft pick, right? As we touch on Johnny Furphy in a minute, right? But Tyler Kolek, right? For me, perfect fit for Phoenix, perfect fit for Minnesota, who need a backup point guard in the worst way. Even Sacramento, I think Sacramento Kings could do with someone behind Fox. Washington Wizards. I mean, there's so many teams that could do with a Kolek, right? And again, maybe that's where the Knicks have him on the board. They don't want him, but another team does, and we do a little transaction, a win-win. But look, I could see Tibbs appreciating Kolek's, competitiveness, nose for the ball, playmaking ability, and good motor as well. And obviously, he's a floor general. He's very heady, takes care of the ball. We know Tibbs loves that. But the physical tools, very underwhelming, man. He's 6'1" without shoes, and he's 6'3" wingspan as well. And look, he's 23 years old. So we know Tibbs is going to love that experience. But for me, I'm still putting him in a risk. Right? I wouldn't use a first-round draft pick on him for the Knicks, despite his game being more ready, right? If you're Nuggets Nation, if you're Raptors Nation, it's going to be different, man. You know that club a little closer with that situation. But that's Kolek. Now, rewind back to Johnny Furphy. Furphy's going in the first round. I think I'll be really shocked. He obviously stayed in the draft. I think he got some kind of assurance. The experts do confirm he got assurances. I mean, how many teams could do with a Johnny Furphy right now? Maybe you're a team closer to contention, and you can afford to just integrate a guy, slowly, as a guy who can come in as 6'9" and stretch the ball and rebound and be just a really good off-ball threat, as he develops his offense. I'm going to go these draft picks and just to see who's there. Look, you've got Orlando at 18. I could see Orlando using a guy like a Furphy. Philadelphia at 16. They're going to lose Tobias Harris. They might not be successful getting Paul George. Cleveland at pick 20. Bobby Clintman is mocked to them. I could see them. Phoenix have Grayson Allen. Maybe they want to trade him, get his salary out there, get a Johnny Furphy in there as well. Milwaukee at pick 23, I think could do with a Johnny Furphy as well. And certainly 26, Washington. So yeah, I could, I definitely see Furphy going in the first round. We'll see how that plays out. Dripmore is in the building. Yes, sir, buzzing. Summertime. NBA draft coming up. And I welcome in anyone just joining us. Replay squad, once again, salute. Episode 3. The next show we'll talk about will be higher upside, fam. Aiming high, right? Is there a world where the Knicks need to trade up to get a Zach Edey, right? A Tristan da Silva, players of that mold. Who else have I got? A Devin Carter, although I think that's going to be out of our range because I think he's going top 10 now. Eves Missy, right? Dalton Connect, right? Those names, they're going to be harder for the Knicks to get, but the Knicks have had guys in the past that they've really admired and maybe, tried to go up and get. So that'll be the next show in the draft series, how they help. But another show coming up on Friday night, we will welcome in a draft guest from the NBA Big Board platform as well. Our guy James Barlow is going to come on and join us on 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. James Barlow of the NBA Big Board is going to come in and talk to us about the Knicks as well. He's got his mock up there on Twitter as well. So that's a little preview of some names we'll talk about. Trenton Flowers, a guy I've seen play live. Now, Trenton is a guy who's definitely taken the good opportunities from playing overseas. He's not a point guard, as they experimented early in the preseason. He is, though, a wing with good scoring abilities, playmaking abilities as well, cutting, good off-ball player right now. His on-ball stuff and creation levels, need to get better. His handle, I think, is a clear weakness that needs to be improved for him to be an elite wing. But he has a very high floor. Not going to lie. He has high upside and a high floor as well. So he is definitely worth a swing in the early second round. If I'm any team picking early second round, there'll be no hesitation. Late first round could be a risk for some of these teams. However, the upside is still there. He's only 19. So, yeah, he's someone that fits the mold. There already can see Furphy fitting in with New Orleans. He's that type of guy. Yep. I also had Isaiah Crawford. I think Isaiah Crawford is the, Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones kind of fit with New Orleans as well. And yeah, I want to talk about Bub Carrington too. AP says Kobe came up with the bench for the Lakers early in his career as well. It's either up to the player to be patient and force their way into the rotation. I like that, earn the minutes. There's nothing wrong with that too. You see the Wizards, and for the longest time, the Detroit Pistons, they just keep drafting prospect after prospect, hoping something sticks. But for them to really get lucky, one of these players have to really pop and make it, right? And I like guys right in the middle. Isaiah Crawford is a guy that I'm starting to become more high on every day, right? Is a guy who's played enough of college, but still not too old. He's not 23, 24 yet. Comes in ready-made defense, I think, ready-made shooting, spot-up shooting, I think solid creation, and has improved throughout his college career. So yeah, you get to see that gradual improvement, and we're gonna, see where he goes. Now he's quite underrated right now, and not gonna lie, he should be higher on people's boards. I feel. I think ESPN got him at top 80 something on their big board. He's going to find himself somewhere in that, second round, early second round, I feel. If he kills workouts, I think, he might get some first round consideration the closer we get, possibly. We'll see. But yeah, look forward to talking to James Barlow, the brother of Raphael Barlow as well, right? The founder of NBA Draft Junkies as well, and the chief scout of NBA Big Board, James Barlow, his brother, currently hosting on the platform as well, and really great guys, and look forward to talking to them on Friday night as well, and then episode 3 of the Knicks draft series, How They Help. Too. I hope this has been educational. You've gotten something out of this and learnt about some other prospects. Before we wrap up, we'll continue summarizing. We got Ulrich Chomche, the youngest prospect in this draft. Right, it don't get more risky for the New York Knicks perspective. But if you're the Toronto Raptors, Masai Ujiri as well. I know I'm being stereotypical, but if you're what's some other teams that have taken prospects? I mean, I think Denver. They took swings with Bol, and guys that are willing. Guys that they might not expect to play immediately. But this is a guy that's really could get a GM promoted, or it could get a GM fired. For that case, right? He could be a baby Giannis. He could end up being Thon Maker and Bobby Portis. But he's 18 and incredible physical tools, block shots, can handle the ball, and size. Obviously, power forward, center man. Physical tools are absolutely elite right now, and look, that's an untapped raw potential. So yeah, what do you guys think about Chomche? Dirty says hard pass. If they just want an athlete, you take a competitor like Adam Boner. London says that's not stereotypical. Yep, they work those networks. Yep, definitely. It's all about knowing what the pathway is. Having a clear development plan. I think that's what is going to allow this guy to reach his ceiling. Right? No NBA team is taking him to play him straight away because of his age. But if you have a long-term vision, like I said, that could get a GM promoted if you untap this guy. There was once upon a time, as I use that example, Giannis was playing third division Greek league as well, and was so thin and raw. There is going to be the next guy at some point, and it's going to have to take someone to be to take that chance with. We talked about Kolek, Kyshawn George, Justin Edwards. I think are solid selections for the New York Knicks in the second round. Tyler Kolek would be more down the order for me because of the defensive and the size as well. I think playmaking guards, we could either try to bring Alec Burks back to play with Deuce. I think it's less of a need. But the wing size is big. Now for me, I'm going to forever remember how the playoffs ended, and that's just part of being a fan. Always remember LJ's 4-point play. You remember Allen Houston's, floater. You remember, Patrick Ewing's missed finger roll, those kind of things. And the Knicks, had a 3-2 lead, over Indiana, and won the first 2 games. We're in 2 commanding positions to win that series, and we let Indiana win 4 out of the last 5. And so my hatred for Indiana just gone up new levels, right? But I keep reliving how that series ended, and yes, OG went down, and we were missing so many guys. Bogey at the wing spot, Hart was dealing with the ab strain and all of that. But I just don't want to be in that same position again. So I've kind of got PTSD now, where at the wing spot, I don't want to rely on a Precious Achiuwa. I don't want to ever see Josh Hart, being the primary defender on a 6'9" guy. I don't want to rely on Bogdanovic for 82 games and for 16 playoff games we must get a wing. We must get a guy with length, size, can defend 2, 3s, and 4s, ideally, uh, fam. And that's where, it starts and ends for me with this draft, right? With the draft needs, right? Positional size. We have picks 24, 25, and 38. And we must get positional size out of this draft, if not free agency. Now, if they've got some kind of deal, potentially in the works cooking up for a guy like a Bridges, a Paul George, all of that, then that's cool. We address that need. Then I'm more open for a Tyler Kolek, as a second round guy, or other needs as well, other swings on younger dudes, Johnny Furphy, right? If we know we're going to get that vet, if we're going to trade Bogey and some other guys as well, possibly Burks, Achua, Mitch. Obviously, only the Knicks know what's cooking up right now, but obviously some defense and size and rebounding. That's what's going to get you on the floor right away with Tibbs. London says, talking about raw physical potential. Yep. You got Salorn, who's a beast. Dirty says, I like Kolek, but we have Rokas to do that if needed. Yeah, I did float that idea earlier about Rokas, man, and I think hopefully we get answers, hopefully. I think this will be the off season because, all the noise coming out of Europe is that he will split with Barcelona. So that was always the first domino, he had a role, he had a team. He wasn't interested so much, or the Knicks weren't as interested to bring him over. Now, Barcelona are going a different way. He's likely to go a different way. He's going to be available. The second option for him outside of the NBA is Zalgiris, one of the top clubs in Europe from his Lithuania country. And Zalgiris, I think, will obviously be trying to lure the hometown kid back there as well. But from what we heard, he is very open and wanting to explore the NBA path right now. I think it's perfect timing because he did have, those years in Europe, won the chip with Barcelona. He was a really big piece. And he's kind of, his team has moved on a little bit, right? He is more of the backup point guard, but can give you 20 plus minutes of good play. And the Olympics is coming up. Obviously, that's going to get him in rhythm. Early June, he's got the Olympic, early July, he's got the Olympic qualifying tournament where he'll be hoping to help his country qualify for the Olympics. And I think they will because they've got Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and they've got Mexico in their group in the pool game, in Puerto Rico. So, all the talk is that Lithuania is going to bring in Jonas Valanciunas and Domantas Sabonis together with Rokas, Mindaugas Kuzminskas, most likely, and all the other great combo guard shooters that they've got. I mean, they've definitely got to beat Ivory Coast and Mexico. And I think Lithuania should be in the Olympics. They're a basketball nation. They're produced some of the best players, internationally. I think they'll get there as well. So that makes it muddy for him to come over for Summer League. But what is going to happen is, I think, should they not qualify, that'll open the door for Summer League. If they do qualify for the Olympics, he'll stay in national team, and then he'll wait to see, with the Knicks extend a camp invite, possibly, I guess. One sneaky thing for that is, I guess, the Knicks can offer, a vet min. He's a guy with probably, higher upside as a typical veteran min. And the fact that he's an NBA rookie, the Knicks trying to watch their salary spots. It could work out for both parties as well. So let's see what happens with Rokas. But yeah, I agree. There was talk over, why did I include Tyler Kolek in a risk reward? From a neutral draft perspective, I could see why people see that. as well. His game is quite safe. It's not so much that risk. But for the New York Knicks, specifically Tyler Kolek, I think is a risk to use that pick as well. Right, he might just end up as another guy that just doesn't crack our rotation, and then he sits on our bench for for so many years as well. Could be just another Ron Baker, in terms of just, gets paid, sits here for a minute. Not saying he's Ron Baker's game or anything like that, but, he could just be another dude like that. And I think the Knicks should just aim a little higher for that. So there is new exemptions in the second round, 3 years, 2 milli per. Okay. So that seems to be going up too. Duras, what's up? Big up, fam. Salute. Yeah, everything it really is going up, and I think with the needs right now and how close we are, I agree with Alan. Great point about the big playmaking wings. Jonathan Mogbo, he made my safe picks episode 1, and I think he's climbing. I mentioned those picks that the Raptors have, and Phoenix, Milwaukee, all right before the Knicks. He could really go earlier, but there is going to be some good wings still available at 24 and 25, right? We talked about Terrence Shannon as well. Deron Holmes, too, late first round, possibly earlier. Jalen Tyson, name is rising. We've got to talk about Bub Carrington, who's got better size than Kolek as well. But we will continue the buzz, right? The buzz doesn't stop, ladies and gentlemen, when the streets are buzzing. Really enjoyed this one. This was part 2 of our How They Help series, right? We had buzz from the chat. Replay squad will let us know their thoughts in the comments section, no doubt. But please smash that like button. Again, we've got more shows coming up. Episode 3 will be later in the week, but our next show will be on Friday night with a special guest, James Barlow of NBA Big Board as well, coming in, lending us his knowledge and experience. He's been chopping it up and breaking down this draft class, and you can check out our friends at NBA Big Board on their platform, Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube. I'll put the link in the comments section as well, right? Really looking forward to chopping it up with James on Friday night, right? That'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time as well. But thanks, guys, for joining the conversation as well. Let's go Knicks. Let's keep building this squad, and come back and ready to win that championship and go all the way, fam, as well. The NBA Finals are going to kick off soon. My pick, before we get out of here, my pick is Boston in 7, fam. It's a tough one, right? I don't really like Dallas, to be honest with you. I've never really liked Dallas. I'm not the biggest Luka fan. I'm not a big Kyrie fan either as well. And obviously there's Knicks and Mavericks history. Obviously there's New York and Boston history as well. I hate the Celtics, but I do have a soft spot still for my guy Kristaps Porzingis, and I think KP is going to be the difference, right? The Boston Celtics without KP, and I think it's a different story, fam, and we see how vulnerable Boston can be, right? KP comes in, and I think he's going to change things, right? He's going to come in and stretch the floor out, block the shots as well, and they're going to need him to win that. So my pick is Boston in 7. Let me know your thoughts. Daras says Dallas in 6. Look, Luka's going to ball out. Luka's tough to stop, man. But, I've given Dallas a lot of credit, too, for their building, because I haven't really seen a team, a club transform their roster so much like Dallas have in 9 months, right? 9 months. They got Derek Lively. They got PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Jones Jr. as well, Dante Exum. They've got so many players and depth that they've recently added from trades and maneuvers and all of that. So they deserve to be where they're at, man. It pains me to say, but it's right now for Boston, man. If Boston lose this finals again, that'll be 2 finals losses for Jason Tatum and for Jaylen Brown, right? And I think with Drew Holiday's ability to lock up on the wing is going to be big, right? I think they're going to allow a bit more physicality, and I think he's going to be enough to help slow them down just a little. But that's that, fam, as well. Let's see what you guys think. And Nick Yak says we gain about 5 spots if Boston wins in the draft. Salute. Peace, guys. See you on Friday night. Let's get it.